All right, welcome to the show. We have Greg Boutin, CEO of Relay today for the first part of our show. So, Greg, why don't we start with your background and how you made it to the CEO of Relay?
Okay. Well, thanks for having me, though. Again, I'm really excited. So in terms of background, I guess, I always like to start, people are asking me about my accent, so it is French. I was born and raised in France, in the French Riviera. I lived in Asia after that when I was in my 20s, and I decided to move to North America 20 years ago. And so I stayed in the US and settled in Canada, which I love. I'm a big fan of Canada and Toronto especially.
Okay.
Professionally speaking, I've worked in consulting quite a bit, Boston Consulting Group and Deloitte. I've done other things in e-commerce. I was managing e-commerce, part of it for a big retailer in Canada, and a few other things. But the important part, I think, for me is I was always at the intersection of technology and people, in the spirit of change. Managing transformations and things like that. That's what I enjoy. There are a few things I really like in the insurance space. I always joke that there's a ton of data, and there's also a ton of money.
Right.
That's two things I really like, just to be clear. And on top of that, there are a ton of challenges. Like, you need to transform this space. There's no question. So it's kind of the ideal playground for me. I love it.
So that's exactly why I wanted to interview you as well, because I am, me, I am very passionate about transformation and positively disrupting the insurance processes and the market and so on. And you are touching one very, very important, actually the backbone of that industry, which is risk transfer, right? So you created Relay. Your focus is digitizing the risk transfer processes and that framework. What's been your progress, and tell us about Relay and your products.
We are focused on digital risk transfer. The reason for that is I'm a workflow guy. Like, I like process, and I like to do things more efficiently. I'm not into, like, I don't come from the space, so I think I can't kind of jump into insurance and tell you how we're going to be doing things differently, not knowing how things are done today.
Right.
So I started with that, understanding the process, and then people always ask me, well, what's your silver bullet? What's your secret sauce? All that.
Right.
And I'm like, I can't summarize that in one word. I mean, unless you talk about user adoption, that's my secret sauce. Is that if I put the product in front of someone who's doing risk transfer, which is always what I'm asking companies to allow us to do, they won't move to a different platform. Like, I believe that's what I've seen so far. They get hooked, and
Right.
The reason they get hooked is because we sat down with them, we really understood all the problems they had, and then we brought up creative solutions, and we're pushing the entire process. We're trying to kind of elevate a number of different levers at the same time.
So let's say I'm an underwriter that does fact business, speculative business placements, or I'm a reinsurance team member or head of reinsurance, whatever, or if I'm a reinsurance broker, can I still join your platform? Does my company has to join your platform first for me to be allowed in the platform, or can I individually join? Tell us about your products a little bit.
Yeah, so you can join it. Yeah, whether you feel like you need the permission of your company to do that or not, it's kind of up to you. I'm all for freedom.
Right.
So I very much encourage, you can sign up on the website. That's one of the big differences and differentiation factor that we have. We've tried to make it easy to join. And you don't need like a special handshake and join a special club. You can just join it. It's very democratic in that respect. But then we also understand that there are some constraints at the corporate level, and that they may want to add some controls to that. And that's where we're like, well, perfect. You've got a few people who've joined. Now add some controls. We sell you a subscription for that, and we make it easy. So in that respect, I think that's a huge difference between our platform and some others. And another big dimension where it kind of plays a critical role is the chicken and egg problem. we always get the question. So I'm a reinsurer, or I'm a broker, or I'm a cedent. Well, do you have the other side on your platform already? So the way we solved that very much, we were like, well, how do they do it today? And they email people, by and large. Email is the killer app in insurance reinsurance. So I'm like, let's have the platform issue some emails. And what do I care whether they have an account or not? Like, they're going to get hooked if we do things the right way and we provide value. They will want to get more from the system. So that's how I look at it. There's still like this perception you have to force platforms on people in B2B in general, but especially in insurance reinsurance.
Right.
I can't. This got to change, because that's what's been keeping I think the processes, the back office processes, in the dark for so long.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but my background is property underwriting, and I've worked in Turkey, I've worked in Brazil. Now I'm based in New York.
So
I've placed so many. I've done so many back placements, right? And every time I remember myself. The first step you take after all your submission is ready, right? Sometimes not actually. You just type a simple email and attach a couple of things, and you just shoot it over to the reinsurance companies that you believe,
right?
Personally, you believe that they are right? So, but in your example, how are you helping me if I join Relay?
Yeah.
Can you describe a little?
Yeah. So we've kind of focused on a few things, but speed is for the use case you just described. Speed is of the essence. So typically when you're an underwriter and you do a fact placement, that's because you got a quote on the insurance side, typically and you're trying to get insurance for that, and it doesn't fall under your treaties. And so in this particular case, you have a direct correlation between how fast you're securing reinsurance and your ability to secure the insurance business. And so what we're doing in that respect is if you go directly to reinsurers, we're giving you the tools to do that. So you'll be able to very quickly structure your placement. We love integrating with your policy admin system if that's possible. We don't need that, but of course it speeds things up even more. But you may not have a policy yet, like it may just be a quote, right? So that's usually the use case. And then we're going to allow you to very quickly and visually structure your placement. What are the layers? How you want to kind of, and if you need help, that's where you can involve a broker or your internal seeding teams when you have that. And we're including the ability to collaborate very quickly on that placement, and then push that to market, with the ability to customize each message, because it's a relationship business, and the more it's customized, the more it comes from you, the higher the likelihood that you will get a response.
Right.
And then we do all the heavy lifting for you, like the tracking, the notifications, the reminders, and so on their end, they will receive an email just like they did before, and they also have the ability to either work by email or on the platform. If you accept their quote, then they have to enter some information. They can open an account, get more functionality, more tracking, more reporting. And you said earlier, I have to think which reinsurer is most likely to do that. Right. Well, that's basically analytics you're doing yourself. And so when you have 100 underwriters doing that at the same time, for a company, it's critical to actually surface this and track the response time, track the acceptance rate from your reinsurers and also from your brokers.
Right.
And that's why we're also giving you the ability to do it. There's a lot more. Like, we're also giving you the AM best rating on those reinsurers real time. We're also going to be tracking, allowing you to do the certificate, to do the binding on that, all that stuff. So ultimately, when I conclude this, the goal is make it at least 50% faster for you to get that reinsurance.
So that means that you're not a governance tool. You're actually a true business tool around risk transfer activities.
We think like business is the first level, and you need to get that right. Otherwise, I'll give you an example. So governance tool, you have some out there. I don't want to name names. Some have done a tremendous job at getting some traction.
Right.
But what we hear is it's an extra step in the process for the doers, and I mean like the underwriters who actually need to get the job done, as opposed to being the process. So if I don't solve that layer first, you can put as much governance as you want on top of it. You're still going to go back to email, phone calls, and all these informal mechanisms.
Yeah.
So I first have to figure out how to get you to use the system so that I can track that stuff. There's a lot of failed placements. They're not tracked today. I don't believe any of the platforms out there are able to track the failed placements because people don't use them to actually place. They use them once the placement is negotiated, and then they go on and then they record it.
Right.
That's very different. So for us, once we've done that, then we're able to give management control. So you have permissions, you have exception. You can manage your authorized reinsurers or authorized like carriers on the insurance side. If you're a broker trying to find capacity from the carrier, you can manage the levels. Like how much money can you what's your level of placement? Is it 10 million, 100 million, these types of things, and then you can get much more visibility into what your team is doing and how you can improve your performance, your exposure, and over time, I think you might be interested in what's coming up as well. For us, contract lifecycle management is the big thing. And then another thing is claims management.
So a lot of stuff coming. Before I let you go, a very, very quick topic as well. You have been talking about social connectivity. So within relay world, within risk transfer world, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I had I hired someone recently that comes from the insurance brokerage world in New York, and one of the first observations that she made was, your system is great, but it's very transactional, and this is a relationship business. And I was like, you know what, you're right. So how do we change that? Okay. It's like, well, you need to overlay some level of social network, but not like LinkedIn, that already exists.
Right.
Something that's more deal centric, like a professional network. And especially in the context of COVID-19, you have this need to have first of all, your immediate team at your fingertips so you can chat with them, communicate much faster, which we haven't seen really. Like, everybody uses Zoom, but can you click on a button and start chatting with your colleague right there? It doesn't work like that. Right. There's a few things like that it doesn't do. So that's what we're thinking. And then, the deal, typically the placement, is the result of many upstream conversations. And we're like, how do we facilitate that? For example, events like Monte Carlo Rendezvous or Target Markets events or, WSIA or some other stuff. Right. They're deal-centered events. And for Europe, actually, Monte Carlo might be Baden-Baden, I don't know. But at the end of the day, how do you take this dialogue and reflect these existing networks online? So that's what we're trying to do with the Risk Network. Because we're based in Canada, we call it the Rink. And we're trying to replicate that in a way that's not intrusive, not exposing all your clients to all the other competitors, because that's obviously a no-no. But at the same time, give you the tools that you need to replicate those conversations you were having, because it's a person business, but replicate that online. Not replace people, but augment people. I don't want to use the word enhance because it might lead to some other connotations, but augment people.
I'll let you go now. Thanks a lot for joining today, and this was the first session of the show anyway. So we'll start with you. Thanks a lot for your time, Greg.
Thank you. We always like to be the first.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
All right.